the man, he's the myth, he's the legend, he's the scientist with all the answers and all the questions. It's time for another episode of Alex's Science Corner.
Thank you. Oh, please. Thank you. Oh, enough. That was perfectly cut right there.
What's going on in the wide, wide world of science, my friend?
All right, so first story is about astronomers believe they have evidence for thousands of black holes circling around the center of our Milky Way. In the center of our Milky Way, we have a supermassive black hole. Now, the astronomers, what they want to see is they knew there's going to be other black holes around there. They just want to try and figure out how many. So what they're doing is they're counting. What they're trying to do is spot the X-ray light that comes from black holes. When you've got a binary system and material from one star is falling into a black hole, that black hole is going to start generating X-ray light. And so what they're trying to do is spot the X-ray light. Now, they've spotted almost 50 of those. Now, what makes the calculation really interesting is that, first of all, you have to be special conditions for the black hole to generate the X-ray light. And you also have to have that X-ray light pointing in our general direction so that we can see it. So there's only going to be a small fraction of the black holes that are going to be in those kind of conditions. So with that, they can estimate how many black holes they actually expect to be around the massive black hole in the center of our galaxy. And because of that, they're expecting to be between 500 to 1,000 black holes orbiting our supermassive black hole in the center of our galaxy.
Wow. What does that mean for us, though?
Yeah, what does that mean?
No,
can we get sucked into it?
No, we're not going to get sucked into those. This is under the cool thing that there are thousands of black holes around the supermassive black hole. So it's under the heading of cool stuff.
Okay.
All right.
Cool.
It's not going to affect anything per se. Not like the second and third stories, which are much closer to home. So the second story, there was a segue there, but nobody jumped at it. All right, so the second story.
We're a little slow.
yeah. From being up so early in the morning.
We're a little slow in the uptick here. Okay.
Yeah.
So the second story is about the NASA. On Monday, NASA made an announcement, and beforehand they pre-announced that they've got some special new announcement.
They always
about
do
the
that.
Yeah. Now, when I first read the story, I misread it a little bit, so I thought they were talking about Enceladus, which is the moon around Saturn that we know has geysers. But what the story is about Europa, which is this satellite around Jupiter, which is one of the moons of Jupiter. Now, we knew it was a nice world. We suspected that it had liquid water, but we weren't sure. Well, scientists went through old data from the old Galileo probe that eventually crashed into Jupiter. And they went through that old data, and they found that there's what's known as a magnetic anomaly detector on the probe. And it had unusual readings when it passed over Europa. And when they went back through it and they compared it to other readings from magnetic anomaly detectors, I gotta say that's slow. When they went through other versions of that data, it was like, oh, wait a minute, that means that there were geysers on Europa.
At one point in time, or
20 years ago. At least there was when it passed over. Now, because of the way it passed over, it was not at the poles, which means that there's liquid water coming off of Europa, which is a second moon that Enceladus around Saturn we know has liquid water under it.
And so water means possibility of life.
Possibility of life. Yeah. So now we've got a much better indicator that there's a possibility of life on Europa.
So when we really screw up this world, we've got someplace to go.
No, I don't think it's going to be that place.
No, it's... On the one hand, Europa, which is about the size of our moon, has twice as much water on it as Earth does.
Wow, that's a lot of water.
So, yeah, but unfortunately, a lot of it's under like miles thick ice.
So it's a cold planet.
Yes, except underneath it's going to have liquid. Under the layers of ice, there is liquid water. But the fact that it's got geysers means we don't have to dig far to get to some sort of liquid water. And that means if we send probes there or to Enceladus, it's going to be easier to figure out if there's life, we don't have to dig as deep to try and figure that out. So that was story number 2. Story number 3 is researchers have been able to make a micro robot fly. And I mean that in the term as in fly, and I'm going to show a quick picture to...
it's a fly! It's a fly!
So this robot is about the weight of a toothpick. And the way they've had robots this small actually fly, but the difference here is they have been tethered. This is the first one that has not been tethered. Now the challenge, of course, is they can get the circuitry onto a board that's light enough. The challenge, of course, is getting it power. So what they did is they've got a little tiny solar panel, really, really teeny solar panel, and to give it enough power, they shine a laser beam onto that solar panel, and that generates enough power for the robot fly to fly.
So how long does this laser beam have to be on that panel for it to continue to fly?
The challenge of it is it's got to be continuously, as long as the laser lies on the panel.
Yeah.
Now, of course, with the thing moving around, they can't keep the laser beam aimed at the panel, so as soon as the fly flies out of the beam of the laser, it then loses power. Right. But they're able to make it fly. As long as they've got the laser beam on that panel, it flies.
So down the road, when they figure this thing out completely, they could send a little fly into your house or into
be a fly on a wall.
Right.
Yeah.
Or KGB headquarters.
Right. Yeah.
Well, again, the electronics in there, the circuitry, everything fits onto a thing, and it all weighs about the weight of a toothpick. And they're able to make it fly.
So they can spy on you with a fly.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Really.
So, but I mean,
and some of us thought they had that ability to do that anyway, years ago. So.
Well, in Bond, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
James Bond can do anything now.
You really?
Let me get you that tinfoil hat, Bobby.
James.
And we'll,
very punchy crew here this morning.
I know.
Maybe it's a good thing folks can't
That the
call.
phone isn't working. We can't know how many people are actually listening.
It's like, what do you want? All right. If you have any questions about this, well, I guess you're out of luck.
Now, wait a minute. He's got a YouTube page.
That's
they can
true.
post it on his YouTube
Well,
channel.
they can message Alex via you have the Alex's...
Alex Science Corner.
On
it's
Facebook.
One S instead of two. It's Alex Science Corner, not Alex's Science Corner,
Right.
but Alex Science Corner on Facebook and on YouTube.
Okay,
so Alex Science Corner.
or if you have a question, you can put it on the Saturday Morning Club Facebook page as well, or you can call next week and hopefully the phone will be functioning. In the meantime, we'll play you a little more music here. Here's some John Lennon.